All right, my name is Chris Oyen, and we are here today to do 7 questions with YNPN's newest board member, Jenna Wade. Hi, Jenna.
Hi, Chris.
So why don't we start off with some basic information, age, location, and where you work.
Sure. I am 32, and I live in Minneapolis, and I work at a nonprofit called Fresh Energy. We work on energy policy.
And what's your specific job there?
I'm the communications specialist, so I do marketing communications, I do our social media, I do a lot of work on our website. I'm general all-purpose communications gal.
All right, let's get into our 7 questions. Question number 1, what are your most non-profity traits?
Okay, non-profity traits. Okay, I have a couple. First, probably a non-profity trait that I have is that I'm very much a team player. I don't consider myself very competitive at all, so I always think if I worked in the corporate world, they might eat me alive. I just want, a lot of the time I just like to have everybody get along. So that I think is a very non-profity thing a lot of the time. Secondly, a non-profity trait, specifically in my career, has been, and I think this is common for a lot of people that work in nonprofits, is that I'm very much, I will jump in to do anything even if I don't know how to do it, which often when you work in a nonprofit you're kind of forced to do. So a lot of the things that I do in my job right now I had no experience with. I had no experience with policy or environmental policy when I started at Fresh Energy, and kind of just totally jumped in and kind of learned by doing. And then maybe my third non-profity trait would be that a lot of the time, because we're working on such giant issues, so we work on global warming, clean energy, transportation, giant issues similar to homelessness and a lot of other social issues and policy issues, that a lot of the time you feel like you're never doing enough, which instead of working, in a corporation or something where it's numbers and you just you please your boss, and that's a broad generalization, but a lot of the time you feel like you never work hard enough or do enough, and that I think is definitely a non-profity trait.
All right, and that kind of leads us into question number 2, which is, what has been your proudest moment in your job at Fresh Energy?
Okay, well, I've been at Fresh Energy since 2006, and probably my proudest moment actually was getting the job that I have now, which is communications specialist, because when I started at Fresh Energy, I started in the admin position. Like I said, I had no experience with policy or environmental policy specifically. I didn't go to school for it or anything like that. So when I started in 2006 in the admin position, I was able to, 2 years later, move up into a fundraising and communications position, and then 2 years later, which would be a year ago, I got the communications specialist job. So, which was huge for me to be able to be promoted twice and slowly move towards what I really want to do and what I'm really good at, I think, which is strictly all communications. So the fact that the people at Fresh Energy trusted me and had faith in me and that I got that opportunity was probably my proudest moment.
All right, now let's switch tracks with question number 3. Who's your favorite literary character and why?
Yes, that is switching tracks. My favorite literary character, this is hard because I read a lot, but my favorite literary character is a girl named Zippy. From a book from the same name, and it's a memoir by Haven Kimmel, and she is Zippy. She gets that nickname when she's a kid, and it's her story about living in a small town and the hijinks that she gets into as being Zippy, and it's just, I love her character because it's the book I would want to write if I could. It's really irreverent and really sassy and witty, and it's the only book and only character that has made me laugh out loud more than once, and I recommend that book to just everybody I see, and it's just a great book and you should all read it.
All right, now question number 4. Who's your favorite cartoon character and why?
Cartoon character. So I'm not into cartoons now, but when I was a kid, I'm a child of the 80s, as many YNPNers are, it's got to be Jem, and I don't know if you guys know who Jem is, but she's truly outrageous, and it was basically the first Hannah Montana, She's like a regular person, but she's also a rock star. And she had these awesome earrings that she would touch and this hologram would come up and then she would be the rock star, and she had awesome hair and she was just awesome, and who wouldn't want to be Jem?
Was Jem the name of the show?
It was,
All right.
yes. And she had enemies and they were called the Misfits, and they were always, you know, doing cartoony things, but she was in a rock band and it was cool.
Do you remember what station that was on?
No.
All right, I'll have to look that one up
Probably
later.
the same station as Dungeons and Dragons, which I also loved.
All right, question number 5. What's one Twin Cities spot you couldn't do without?
Very easy, First Avenue, like a lot of people in the Twin Cities. I can't imagine not having First Avenue. It's the best place to see live music. I've seen a ton of great shows there, but also I know a lot of people in bands, and my husband is in a band, so I've had a lot of awesome nights there as well.
Do you have a favorite First Avenue show?
Well, the one I just saw recently was I went to the Cars, which was mind-blowingly cool because I've always liked the Cars. But I've seen really good ones. I loved seeing the Strokes there, and the Shins, and Spoon, and Block Party. That was an amazing show. So lots of really great shows.
All right.
Yes.
Question number 6. What are some things in your personal 5-year plan?
Personal 5-year plan. I have a lot of things. First, always to just be better at the job that I have right now. I don't consider myself a communications expert or specialist, even though it's in my title. So over the next 5 years, I definitely like to get better at all of the things I do, including social media and writing and all of that stuff. And as a communications person, I obviously write a lot in my job. But personally, I want to start writing more outside of work and submitting to newspapers and magazines. And along those lines, I've been meaning to start a fashion blog for a really long time, and this summer I'm going to do it. So those are some small things in my 5-year plan.
Do you have a name in mind?
I do have a name, but I can't say it because somebody's going to think it's awesome and then they're going to take it, and I haven't registered it yet.
Okay.
But it's good,
We'll have
and
to,
I'll
we'll
tell
check in on
everybody.
that later.
I'll tell everybody about it, and then you have to go to it.
Okay. So, the last question, but possibly the most important.
Yes.
What are your goals as a board member of YNPN?
Right. So this is the first board I've ever had the pleasure to serve on. And so I'd say my first goal is very selfish in that I want to learn, definitely from the other board members and also YNPN members. The interactions I've had with other board members so far have kind of blown me away. Everybody I've met has been so passionate and so engaged and put a lot of time into what they do. And so I just want to be like that. I want to be super engaged. I hope I can be a really valuable board member. You know, I hope I learn a lot. I hope I get to work on my leadership skills. And I want to meet new people and meet people that do what I do. But a big goal is definitely I want to be as engaged as I can and as valuable as I can, because this chapter of YNPN is very impressive, and I hope that I can help keep it that way. Big goal.
Any others?
No. That's huge! That's a big goal.
Fair enough. One really, really big goal.
One really, really big goal. I'm
All right.
just getting started, so talk to me in a couple months.
All right. Those are 7 questions. So, thanks for the interview, and we'll see you around at YNPN events.